Afonso, being an illustrator and like this multifaceted artist, that you work in film, you work in with illustration, and you write, and it's interesting to see how these three things come together as a reader, as an experience. But for you, what does it, why do you think these three elements work together? Because your writing not only is very visual, but you also use illustrated materials. So yeah, I just wondered how you felt about the whole mix.
Well, it's something that I like to talk about, and because I think a lot about it, the way you use some languages to express yourself, and what are the limits of images, or the limits of words, or what can you do to complement both languages or semiotics, yes, because I think I think with lots of images, because it's also my work as an illustrator, for instance. Sometimes I have an insight that is previous than older or original. I don't know, and not necessarily words, but images, and what I find really interesting is it's when you understand that there is something you want to tell, and you need an image for that, or the other way around. When both languages they need each other to be understood. I can give you an example. I have this novel. This was the first editions, and they no longer have this, but this is Christmas story. But you could not understand this story just by reading it, or just by looking at the images.
Oh wow, yeah.
And
that's cool.
What's happening here is that the text is saying something very trivial, like as a Christmas story. It's something like Santa Claus is very fat and has white beard and things like that. But what you see, it's a man smoking a cigar with a suit and a suitcase, and then I describe where Santa Claus lives in the North Pole, with lots of cold, and what you see, it's a Oriental landscape. And then that Santa Claus loves to take walks with his reindeers.
Yeah. No, it's amazing the way the two can work together.
Yeah, and then you have is a colorful what's the name of this kind of industrial buildings?
Factory?
Factory, yes,
yeah.
Factory. Colorful factory where these elves work all day, very happy, and this is one character of this novel, and that's why this story is here. And then he wraps all the toys, and then he flies with his reindeers, and then he delivers all the toys around and in all the chimneys. But this is a shopping mall, and that's how the well-behaved children receive their gifts, their Christmas gifts, and Happy Christmas. So, but you couldn't. The idea is that you couldn't understand this story without both semiotic approaches, and that for me it's really interesting when you can do such a thing, because what usually happens with most authors is that, for instance, if they want to write a children's book, usually the writer writes writes the whole story, and then you don't need pictures for that story. You understand that story. They give that story to an editor. An editor picks up an illustrator, and he illustrates just because it's supposed to be that way. The children books, children albums, they are illustrated, and so, but you don't need those illustrations. You really don't need those illustrations. Well, sometimes the illustrator is good enough to find his own path between the words, but not always, and that's why some years ago their names wouldn't be depicted on the cover. Only now we can see or even share royalties between the writer and the illustrator. When I started illustrating, my name might not appear. Then my name could appear, but very small, much smaller than the writer, and I wouldn't receive the same way as the writer. But since, I don't know, 2010 or something like that, so it's real recent, I began to have different contracts regarding illustration.